issue in today's society among all individuals of any age, and it's particularly important in elderlies as it's usually overlooked. So, depression is usually classified as people who are lonely or isolated and feel like they're in disparity. And the age group that we are looking at are the elderly community, which is classified as anyone who is 65 years or older. So major risk factors for elderly people are if you're widowed or if your children have moved away from home, and those are most common among elders. And signs and symptoms of depression include lacking your social life or losing your personal interests, like eating less, gaining weight, depends how you are, and then there's also typically an increase in physical pain.
All right, this video clip is a segment on depression in elderly individuals, and it describes the experience two older individuals went through when they had depression.
Symptoms of depression in the elderly can be subtle, and they are often dismissed as a normal consequence of growing old. But as Perry Peltz reports, once diagnosed, elderly depression can be relatively easy to treat.
Rosalind Auerbach says she lived for her family, raising her two children in Brooklyn, a marriage of 55 years, and now her greatest joy, 3 grandchildren. But at one time, Rosalind says she couldn't enjoy her family at all because she became depressed.
I wanted to say, I'm going to give up, and I don't want to live in it.
I knew how to load and unload a gun in the dark.
Phyllis, now 75 years old, says suicide was never far from her thoughts. The depression, she says, was relentless.
You feel like you're worthless, that there's nothing more for you to do. Why are you here? Why do you have to go on?
Rosalind says it felt like there was nothing left to do. Her husband died. Her children were grown. She was sick, and she felt like the next activity in her life was death.
I just was so out of it. I didn't know which way to turn.
Rosalind didn't turn for help. She just assumed the depression was just another part of aging that she would live with until she died.
Contrary to popular belief, depression is not a natural part of aging.
Not natural and very treatable if diagnosed, but diagnosis can be difficult.
Sometimes it can be tricky diagnosing depression in the elderly because very often those signs are very subtle. And if there's some early dementia and some cognitive loss, those signs in terms of diagnosing depression can be quite subtle.
Subtle, but there. Symptoms include persistent sadness, feelings of worthlessness, changes in weight, tearfulness, pacing and fidgeting, and excessive worry. The good news, depression in the elderly can be treated, but first a doctor must rule out that medications already being taken for other ailments like diabetes and hypertension are not the cause of the depression. After that, counseling and drug therapy can make a significant improvement.
Life is worth living, and there's a lot of pleasure that one can derive in life, even in their 80s and their 90s.
Like Phyllis, who has gone back to graduate school to earn her degree in social work, and Rosalind, who enjoys copper enameling and exercise.
I put a smile on my face because when you cry alone. And that's not the way to be. You have to be out and amongst people in order to make sure that you forget yourself just a little bit.
As you can see, this video portrays various signs and symptoms about depression in the elderly. It also suggests that depression in elderly individuals can be easily overlooked, which is an important factor to understand. Getting involved in the community is one way that people can try to overcome depression.
So the social media example I chose was the hashtag Connect to Effect, and it's basically just an organization that was founded by the AARP, which is the American Association of Retired Persons, and it was founded in order to provide social connections to the elderly people who might be feeling isolated or depressed, and they really urge them to get to volunteer and give them volunteer opportunities in order to do so. All right, so this is the Connect to Effect website. And like I said, they really just aim to try to get these elderly people who may feel isolated involved. And there's a link that shows you how you can get involved, volunteer opportunities, resources, how to stay in touch. It also has a section about the organization, and that's basically just like giving more information on what they do and why they do it. And they're really just trying to research the topic more in order to find out how to prevent it. It also includes stories among other things that regard people who are trying to get more involved or how they've overcome depression. Also, if you're unsure if isolation is affecting you, the website even includes a free self-assessment test that helps you to understand just how connected you are or aren't, and will provide you with resources fit for you and fit for how depressed you might be.
So the social media example I found is a Pinterest that talks about depression in the elderly, and you'll see in a minute that it shows various statistics as well as risk factors. So the social media example I found, it talks about depression in the elderly, and one of the most essential parts of this is that about 1 in 5 Americans who are 65 years or older have depression, so it's around 20%, and as you can see here, it portrays that. And then many risk factors for elderly who develop depression are low social support and loneliness, social isolation, if you're in a financial crisis, if you have been a criminal, bereavement, or even moving accommodations. And the social media example also discusses various symptoms you'll see in depressed individuals who are older, but we'll discuss those later on.
I chose Pinterest to use as my social media example. The picture I found off the website I thought covers elderly depression to a T. All right, here's the picture that I chose. You scroll down a little bit. This shows some percents and some facts about depression. Like 90% of elderly people don't get treatment. You scroll down some more factors that increase depression, like say medication, chronic illness, that I thought was really interesting because a lot of times they leave this part out that they could not be actually like through the social process, but it could just be through like say medication and some chronic illnesses. Then it talks about some warning signs, such as fatigue, poor sleep, hygiene changes, giving up on social activities, weight changes, decrease in self-worth, memory problems, and you scroll down and talks about some ways they can treat it, but that'll be covered in the next social media example. And then another helpful place I thought was the National Institute of Mental Illness, because it has information that would be easily, it describes symptoms and other options for treatments, and it was extremely helpful.
Okay, so my social media example is a tweet that has the hashtag geriatric depression, and it also includes a link to a website called Quino Medical, and this website just has information regarding depression in elderlies and statistics, as well as how it affects them, and also ways that you can help, because you could possibly be the best way to help an elderly loved one recover from depression. So this is just the tweet, and you can just click on this link, and it takes you to this website, and there's just statistics of geriatric depression worldwide and how it's affecting them, and then also ways that you can help. And so a few ways that you can help are listening to what the elder says and offer your unconditional support for them. It's important to know the warning signs of depression, and a few subtle signs might be getting agitated or irritable easily, loss of appetite, or loss of interest in activities that they once used to enjoy. You can get involved with their care. You should be there to help them eat, sleep, exercise. You could go for a walk or get fresh air, but just basically spending time with them could make a big impact. You could stay in contact with the person and let them know that you're available for them, but also let them do what tasks they can for themselves and reinforce their participation to let them know that they are not worthless and incapable, but help them break up the tasks and praise them for their efforts. And finally, just realize that treatment is key and that depression can be treated, but it may take time.
In conclusion, depression isn't something that you can really prevent, but you can take steps to lessen it or to help people get help and not be as depressed.
The importance of geriatric depression is often overlooked, and it's important to know about this topic because it can decrease the overall well-being of an elder. Depression in elders can lead to an impaired cognitive ability and increase the risk of health problems such as a stroke or a heart attack. Depression in elders may also increase the risk of death from an illness. The ability of elders to rehabilitate from health problems like these is also reduced due to this depression. Often, geriatric depression is mistaken for other illnesses and is mistreated, leading to an increased risk of these health issues.